them really is not of great benefit. So I feel like I'm kind of probably preaching to the choir with all of you, because by the nature of what you do and have done and your training as health and wellness and physical education educators, you really get that probably better than most people, and that you really get to see. Time out.
Yes, two things. Quickly, I am recording. I just want to make sure everybody knew that. I just started. And did you realize today is your 1-year anniversary?
Oh my gosh, I did not.
So when she said January 6th, I'm thinking it's a year ago.
I didn't even know that it was January. See, all the days go like this. Groundhog Day for me. No, I didn't. 1 year anniversary today. So happy anniversary to me with the DOE.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah. Thank you.
I accomplished an incredible amount of work.
I have to tell you, I wasn't sure I wanted to leave schools. And this is the first year in 30 years that I haven't been in schools when schools started and helping children connect and thrive. And, you know, I wasn't sure what the role for the social emotional learning specialist for the Maine Department of Education was going to be. And I know that it is a true collaboration. We have an incredible office. It's wonderful to be able to serve, you know, really serve on a team and really be working towards helping kind of reshape and re-envision what we see as best practice for students. And I didn't even realize and know when I was a speech pathologist in schools and in the private sector, nor did I understand when I was traveling across, you know, the state, doing mindfulness and social emotional learning. And I received my social emotional learning certification through Rutgers University. So I just didn't know that health and wellness and physical education already had standards in place that align with many of the tenets of the 5 competencies of social emotional learning. So it really is exciting to know that, and to know that you all are intentionally putting these skills in place for students, and that you really value and understand that this is how we help students, you know, become optimal learners. Our goal from the Department of Education place in putting together a curriculum, the social emotional learning SEL4ME curriculum, is not a have to, it is a want to, and it is also to supplement the work that you're already doing. So if you're looking for a pool of resources at your fingertips that you don't have to go on the internet and dig out, if you're working, you know, if you're for physical education teacher and you're working on responsible decisions, or you're working on cooperation, or you're working on development of healthy habits, or if you're a health and wellness person and you're working on, you know, responsible decision making, or you're working on understanding the body and the brain, then you don't have to go and look into, you know, if you have your tools in your toolbox, but you want to do more. That was what we wanted to do. And we wanted to have this we wanted it to be web-based, low barrier, free, readily accessible, and anybody to use it. We wanted to really take away any of the barriers that some districts have when it comes to accessing social emotional learning curriculums and programs. We know lots of districts across the state have been using Second Step or have the monies to buy that, but we also know that at the middle and high school level that doesn't apply, that there is no Second Step for high school, and that we wanted to make sure with Commissioner Macon's her absolute must was that we had to make sure that this spanned through high school, and that we were working to help develop those 5 foundational skills of social emotional learning. So if you will give me just a little bit of leeway, because I don't know if everyone is on the same page with, you know, just the understanding and knowledge of social emotional learning. I just wanted to share something with you and give you a document that you can have in your resources. So I'm just going to screen share just for a second, and you can all see what a mess my, let's see if I can do this. No, that's not the one I want. Can you see this? Can you see that document? Now I can't see any of you.
You had it up and then it went away, Kelly.
It did. Great. All right, hold on. Where did you all go? This isn't my first rodeo, so I don't understand why. Oh, let's see. Can you see it now?
We can see you're sharing, but there
can you see that document? Okay. Yes. Are you folks familiar with this document? Thumbs up. I can only see a few people. So All right. And do you know where to find it? I just wanted to give this to you just as I'll put it in the,
put the link
I'm going to select it. Yep, I'll copy and paste it and put the link in the chat. But basically what we're doing here with the social emotional learning curriculum that we've put together is we're operating on the 5 elements of social emotional learning. And if you were in Mayford with me, then you know that I kind of broke this down. But basically, this is everything that you all are doing in your standards, that we're working in an intentional and purposeful way to build student, regardless of whether they're elementary, middle, or high school, build their self-awareness skills, their ability to integrate personal and social identity. So you have standards in interpersonal communication. So when I show you the lesson library in a few minutes, you're going to see that regardless of what age range you teach, there will be a whole plethora, 30 to 35 lessons that you can do that will help you implement self-awareness skills with your students. So we know that self-awareness is really about helping students understand, how do I feel? Where does that feeling live in my body? How does that feeling and thought really dictate my behavior? And we all know that attention, you know, our emotions drive our attention, and our attention is the thing that drives our learning. And so we've all had students and know students who are unintegrated, they have difficulty with bilateral integration, they have difficulty with attention and focus. And so when we spend purposeful time on self-awareness, teaching children to understand, like I said to Susan when I came in, I was just about flipping my lid, you know, just noticing that I started feeling really a little nervous, a little out of like, oh no, I'm going to let these people down. I don't have the link. How come I don't have the link? And, you know, that sort of thing. So all of this kind of fight, flight, freeze sort of thing started going through. And it was hard for me to think, all right, what are the tools that I have to problem solve this so that I can get into this Zoom? And so one of the things that I had to do was I knew that I needed to reach out to Susan. I also knew I needed to look into, you know, my emails. But the first thing I had to do was breathe. And breathing, as we know, is the #1 way to calm the central nervous system non-pharmaceutically. So helping students build self-awareness, helping them build agency, understanding their identity is the absolute foundation, and really can't be skipped over. The one thing I wanted to really to stress with all of you is that this curriculum is only a curriculum in that it has a scope and sequence that it follows. It is not something that that the commissioner or the Department of Education is saying has to be done. It is there for you as a resource that you can use at your will, but it does follow a sequence. And so if you do use it, it would be my strong recommendation that you follow the sequence of the CASEL alignment, beginning with self-awareness, then moving to self-management. And really self-management, right, is our ability to manage our emotions, our thoughts, our behaviors, you know, have some coping mechanisms. And we ask students a lot to pay attention, to sit, to stand still in line, to, you know, keep your hands to yourself. You know, if you're lining your students up in a physical education to get ready to play a game or to do a skill set, and they can't keep their hands to themselves, then that causes issues and problems interpersonally. So helping students, #1, know how they feel and where that feeling lives in their body, and then to develop the self-management skills. One of the things you'll see in the lesson library is that we on purpose worked with a web developer and a platform that implemented mindful practices. And so if you're interested in mindfulness, or if you don't even really know the first thing about it, but would like to access some mindful practices, I will show you when we get into looking at the SEL4ME curriculum, you'll see that there are nice mindful moment lessons. Each of these lessons are anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, and they're really meant for you as the educator to modify, accommodate, use them. You know, they're really just kind of there as a guideline or a set of resources for you to implement, because you know your students best, and you know what's best, and you know the best way to roll these things out and to embed them in your instruction. So after you work on self-management, then we work on social awareness. And social awareness is really that ability to have empathy and compassion and understanding for other people, other people that are from diverse backgrounds, diverse cultures, a diverse context. And, we live in one of the widest states in the country, but that doesn't mean we're off the hook in teaching cultural competence and cultural responsiveness. We need to, because we have children who are afraid of other people based on the color of their skin, or, what their last name is, or what part of town they're from. So understanding perspective taking, what it must feel like to walk in somebody else's shoes. We've done a really good job of embedding that into those lesson libraries from kindergarten all the way to high school, helping children recognizing strengths in other people, demonstrating on purpose, empathy, and compassion. Somebody asked me once, well, what's the difference between kindness and compassion? And what about empathy? Where does that go? And empathy is really being able to, compassion is like, I get it. I've been there. I understand how you feel, right? Kindness is, I'm going to be nice to you. But sometimes we hold back kindness based on whether we think somebody deserves it or not. And there's always room for that interpretation or judgment. No, we're not going to be kind to, we don't, that kind of thing. And we've been conditioned as people to think one way or the other based on, who's been our teacher or our parent or our, whoever our community is. So helping to purposefully and intentionally elevate student social awareness is really important, because that's the backbone of how we build into, connected humanity. So there's really, really great modules in there that help children, all children and adults, understand how important it is to be able to take the perspective of other people. After kids have a good foundation of social awareness, that's when we move into relationship skills. And the first thing about the relationship skills and what we do in the modules that we have for you is that we're looking to help them have right relationships with themselves. And I had a moment to look through your health and wellness standards, and I can see that you all do a really good job of making sure that they understand about self-care and, hygiene, and being able to recognize what's good for them as far as foods, and and those are the things about having that right relationship with myself so that I can seek right relationship with other people. And the important thing about relationships is that we're hardwired to connect with humans. We're human beings, not human doings. So we're hardwired to connect with one another. But if we don't feel, if we have an issue or problem and we don't sleuth it out, we don't, come into a common place of understanding, even if there's a miscommunication or a misconception, we have to care enough about each other to figure it out, because that's what we're here on this planet to do, to work together for the greater good. And, that takes skill, and it's hard, and confrontation isn't always easy. And so this is where we have a lot of modules that help children understand, what it means to be a bully, or what it means to be, a bucket filler, what it means to help, don't be just a bystander if you see somebody being aggressive, picking on somebody. So there's all of that. And also there's wonderful, wonderful modules in there about tobacco use, substance use and abuse. You will see when I show you these modules, you'll see that they're all scaffolded and they're developmentally appropriate. So what you would see in middle school and high school is not going to be something we would see in the lower, in the younger grades, but the building blocks are there for the younger grades. So there are all kinds of modules that help you if you want to teach global citizenship, if you want to teach, I think I saw one of your standards was maybe not screen time, but Susan, help me. One of the standards was social media and social, right?
Around technology and
technology, right? Yes. And so there are modules in here how to use technology safely, and in our older grades there are what happens if you're in a relationship that's not going well, what happens if you're in a relationship that is possibly dangerous for you, those kinds of things. So there's lots and lots of really age-appropriate modules for helping to build healthy, connected, trusting, loving relationships. And then ultimately responsible decision-making. That is the highest level perceptual abstract reasoning thing we can ask kids to do. We have to have the prefrontal cortex engaged. This part of your brain has to be turned on. You have to be in an integrated present moment place, not flipping your lid, not having the neurochemistry that supports back brain protection, fight, flight, freeze. So we ask kids as young as preschool, what were you thinking? You know, use your language to tell me, why did you do that? And so that's about, you know, that's the highest order. Language is the highest order, and responsible decision-making requires that your executive function brain, the thing that takes in information, stores the information, you know, flips it around, does something different with it, remembers the information, problem solves. That is not going to be in optimal learning if we don't teach kids on purpose with an intentionality how to make responsible decisions. And it all goes backwards, because I can't make a responsible, reasonable decision if my brain is in fight, flight, freeze, or submit. So we have done a really nice job, I think, collectively of making sure that when you utilize these modules, you can see that they are, all, like I said, there's a sequence, a scope and sequence. That's why it's called a curriculum, and then how they can be embedded into your classroom. I like what CASEL has done here. If you've looked at this document before, they have actually updated this in just the past 4 or 5 months. They, since the killing of George Floyd, they have done, and all of the Black Lives Matters, you know, movement, what they have done is saying, you know, we need to do a better job in cultural competence and ethics and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so they have really reworked all of these competencies to be leveraged through an equity lens. And that was important to us as a team to make sure that every child in our schools, we know children only thrive in schools when they feel safe and connected and valued and represented, when they feel seen. And so that we really wanted to make sure. So if you look through this, you can see what they've done now is CASEL's done a really great job of saying, okay, so you're on board with this SEL stuff. Here's how you might be able to do it in your classroom. Here's how you might be able to implement it effectively in your schools. Here's what it could look like if we were doing it with family and caregivers. And this is what happens when we partner with communities. So we know collectively at the Department of Education, we know that that SEL doesn't just live in one place. We know that we want bus drivers and lunch people, and, you know, I want to, let me stop screen sharing just for a second. We want everyone who is in schools and working with youth to have common framework and knowledge about how important it is to see the human that's walking through the door, the way you do when you are working with them from a health and wellness place. We want everyone, regardless of whether they're a first grade teacher or 12th grade teacher teaching math, what we're looking to do is help to empower educators to step outside of maybe the role or the content that they teach, and have that not be the most important thing. The most important thing is that they're teaching human beings that content that they love, that the reason they went to college to be a science teacher or whatever. So I wanted to just stop just for a second to ask, does anybody have any questions about just the foundation? I know I went through it really fast.
If you have a question, just unmute, and there's a small enough group we can do that for a comment.
Okay, so because I feel like you all have a pretty good foundation of SEL, I'm going to forego, but I want to put in the chat. Where did the chat go? Is that it? Nope. I can't turn the chat on, Susan.
The chat?
Oh, I can find the participant. Nope, I don't have that. I don't have that access on my side.
For the chat.
I got it. It was read. They read it out. They read it out. All right. Here's so if you want to be able to find that document, that PDF to print out or just to have in a folder somewhere on your desktop, that's the folder. This is also, if you're working with folks in your school and they don't have a good idea quite yet about what SEL is, and you want to show them a really good video, Edutopia has an amazing, and I think I showed it at the Mayford. Oh goodness. Hope you're still there. There you are. The Mayford conference. Why is my chat still moving away, Susan? And this is about a 6-minute video, but I don't want to play it right now. You could look at that. That is a really nice, it's through Edutopia, and Edutopia has a lot of really wonderful SEL resources for you all. So that's about a 6-minute video. So I'm going to go straight to SEL4ME. Is that okay, Susan and Jean? Yeah. How many people have had a chance to look at the resource? A little bit. How many have not seen it at all yet? Okay. All right. So we have half and half. So I'm gonna go through here.
And I'm gonna, while you're doing that, Kelly, I'm gonna drop the link into the chat for the SEL4ME.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. All right. I have a couple things I want to show you. I think it's this one right here. Can you all see this okay? Susan, can you see that? Okay, so what you see here, for those of you who are not familiar and have not hopped on yet, please don't feel bad. We just rolled this out a bit ago. So this is called our landing page. And right here in the landing page, I wanted to actually show you. On the bottom of the landing page, there are 5 trainings for adults. These are SEL 101 trainings that I put together last spring. It's me and a YouTube video. They're anywhere from an hour to an hour and 15, sometimes an hour and 20 minutes, half an hour. You can get contact hours for any of this. I would really, really, really highly recommend that anyone who is really interested in growing your own emotional intelligence, spend some time. They're self-paced. You can get a contact, like I said, I can send Susan and Jean a contact sheet for them. You can print out as many as you want. You can print out 5, or you can hold it and write down all the hours for all of them. But it's a great resource for you. You know, one of the things that we recognize and know is that we can't ask educators to teach something that they don't know for themselves. And we were all little boys and little girls once upon a time. And this was not embedded into our development when in a purposeful, intentional way. We had really good teachers growing up. I'm sure every single one of us can remember the most beloved teacher we ever had. I'm sure if we closed our eyes and thought about it, we could bring to mind that individual who really touched our lives and our heart. And we can probably remember their name, how old we were, and what grade we were in. And if we really thought long and hard, we could probably think about situations of why they were our favorite teacher. And just as much, I think we can also remember those teachers that we did not like, the ones that really made us feel uncomfortable, the ones that shamed us or shamed our friends, the ones that we would shake in our boots, you know, or our older siblings or cousins or friends would say, oh, you don't want Mrs. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so, you know, you just get the bubble guts thinking about having that person as a teacher, right? So this is about, you know, us really building our tenets of human development in our self-awareness. We go 1,000 miles a minute as adults, and children do too. One of the things that COVID has made everyone do is slow down a bit. You know, we don't have as many places to go. We don't have, one of the things that we notice that we still do is a lot of multitasking. And even if you're with me right now and you're doing 4 or 5 different things, know that the brain can only do one thing best. It can do a couple things well, and it can't do more than 2 or 3 things before you start dropping the ball. And if I start doing more than 1 or 2 things, and the 3rd thing that I do is distressing, that's going to impact the first thing and the 2nd thing that I do, because it actually changes the neurochemistry of my calm brain and will implement, and it will cause me to make mistakes. It will cause me to have misjudgments. So spending some time in this area in your own training is something that I would highly, highly recommend for you. So you're going to see your landing page, and actually, I think that the landing page needs to look like this, because that was the training. This is the login page. My apologies. I had to. All right, I'll show you the long way to get to SEL4ME. We'll go to the Department of Education if you want to find it.
You can click on the link that's in the chat box.
We can, but I need to do it this way, Susan.
I said they can. You do it this way. They can work that way.
They can, yes. Isn't that funny? All right, this is a long way to find SEL4ME landing page. I just wanted to show you the resources on the landing page. Right here in the middle of the landing page, you'll see if you clicked on it, and I'm not going to do it because it's me, and it's a 2-minute little PSA that says, hi, who I am. I'm the social emotional learning specialist for the Maine Department of Education. This is our new curriculum. This is not a have to, it's a want to. It's a set of resources that's there for you. You know, we don't want you to feel that you have to do it, but we sure hope you take advantage of it. Then as you move through our landing page, there's a little blurb here. What is SEL4ME? Like I just said, it's a free web-based, comprehensive, CASEL-aligned, trauma-informed curriculum. And the one thing that I did want to stress and let folks know is that our curriculum is going to continue to grow. Susan and I are both on a team that's going to be hopefully working this summer. We've made a decision to move it to summer because it's such a great, huge undertaking. But all of these things can be customized. We're going to continue to develop them. Our pre-K modules are not really what we want for pre-K. So we're going to really be spending some time with pre-K specialists in our state to really develop those. And then there are right here on the landing page, you know, how do I use this? How do I register? How do I log in? There's a little 2-minute tutorial here for educators. There's a little tutorial for students, and there's a parent guardian tutorial. So whoever you are, you can just click on this button and they will show you. This curriculum is open to homeschool folks. It's open to any student in the state of Maine. It's open to any community provider, Boys, Girls Club, YMCA. It's open to our corrections officers. They're using this curriculum with because we have restorative practice pieces in here. And again, we have the trainings. This is our SEL FAQ, everything and anything you could possibly want to know about SEL and what it is and how to implement it in your classroom. That's there for you. And then we have a parent support and home SEL, a bunch of links in there for parents. And then we have support links for COVID-19, which, you know, of course, they get updated. So once you've gone through there, you can say, yep, I want to register. So you click here. I just wanted to bring up, this is what it looks like. So you get to this page here. This is your registration page. Up here, you have some buttons here on your toolbar. The home just brings you back to the landing page. The contact button is if you're having any issue or concern after you register and you're having trouble accessing anything, you can send a message to the IT people and the web developers, and they will help you. So please don't email Susan, Jean, or myself, because we don't have access to helping you navigate any kind of technological issues. You can also chat with somebody down here between the hours of 9 and 5. If it's after 5 p.m. or before 9 a.m., you'll fill out a little ticket right here. And the little ticket will say, I am so-and-so from this school. Here's my phone number. And I'm having trouble accessing grade 4 lesson library. And somebody will be in touch with you and they will help you. And they're very, very responsive. And we're very lucky. Right here, we have resources, help resources. These are national resources. We're getting ready to put in our main resources. We have the crisis hotline, health and wellness resources. If anybody out there knows of any other resources that would be good and you would like to have them here, please let Jean or Susan know, and they can let me know and we can add them. And then as we were looking at this yesterday, Susan said, she was partnering with us and said, you know, I don't really love this word other. And Susan, you want to talk about that for just a quick second? We don't have to. This was something that's a national thing. It was put together and we're really looking to have people not feel like others. So we didn't even notice that this had the word other. Susan pointed it out. It was a great notice. So, you know, we have homeless and runaways, Thursday's Child Nation, you know, family of veterans, and LGBTQ. Those are not others. So we're trying to come up with a different category word. If anybody has one that you think would be a great category. The other thing is maybe these categories belong up here somewhere else, or maybe they need their own category. But all I would say is we're really looking for feedback.
Yeah, and I think we could have 2 or 3 more categories, and I think
Absolutely.
As we have additional resources that we will expand that. But it was just one of those things when I saw it, I went, oh man.
100%.
Like, a homeless person feel. So yeah, and we learn as we go. And so
we do. Yeah.
It's something we can definitely update. And please do send any resources, and we will be adding to those, because the other thing we talked about was adding Maine-based resources.
Absolutely.
As Kelly said, these are all national because we're partnering with a national person, but we can add to it.
That's right. So I'm just going to take us back to the registration. If it works fine for me. No. Oh my goodness. Let's go back this way. All right, we'll click to start. We'll just do it the long way. It'll take you to the registration page. So you're going to register. I just need to move you all out of the way for a second. Okay. Right here, you can just click from this drop down. If you're a student, you would click here to register, parent or guardian, educator, or educator affiliate. Because I'm already registered, well, let's see, there I am. I just have it all saved in here, and that's what will happen. So you're just going to put in a work email or an email, and then a password that you can remember, and then you're going to log in. It will take you not to this page. This page right here is the administrative page, and only Bear Shea is our mental health coordinator, and we're making changes to this. It will take you to this SEL4ME dashboard. And so here is where you will look at the lesson libraries. So if you I just want to back up a quick, just one minute. When you register, you can register, even though you teach middle school or high school health and wellness or PE, you can register so that you can access all the grades, because some people like to see the scope and sequence and the lesson libraries. You know, if you're teaching middle school and you have, if you have 6th, 7th, and 8th, and you want to know what did the 5th graders, what did they learn, in this curriculum, you can go back there. So I always say to folks, just click all grades so that you have access to all the grades. You don't have to go through them all, because then when the screen pulls up, then you can just click the grade you want. So I'm just going to click 7th grade just to show you. But every single grade, with the exception of preschool, is laid out in this scope and sequence. So this is the Castle 5 alignment. All of the lessons are set up this way. So self-awareness has, as you can see, going full throttle, recognizing my emotions, my internal traffic, dangers to self-injury. As we're going through this, I'm sure that you're starting to put these together with some of the standards that you are teaching. So you can say, oh, I'm going to be teaching this standard. I want to do an additional work on that. This might be a resource for you. Embracing mistakes, learning from my missteps. Again, mindfulness, unmindful component here, PTSD, dealing with depression. I wanted to show you that there are always 2 buttons. This is brand new. We used to have view the lesson. Now we have share the lesson as well. We asked our web developers if they could please assign a URL so that anybody could have students access this on a Google Classroom, instead of, some teachers didn't want to have every single one of their students logging in and registering, because that just seemed to be really cumbersome. So we listened to what the field was saying, and they said, could we just have a URL where we could copy and paste it, slap it up onto our Google Classroom, and all the kids have access to it equally? And so that was an easy fix. It took a couple weeks for them to do that. So that's available to every single lesson. Then we go into self-management. As you can see, this is 7th grade, so using mindfulness to manage stress, mastering long-term projects, blame game, anger is getting the best of me. So again, this is coping, learning how to cope with my emotions, having right connections with coping mechanism, responsible for what I do and say, managing my time, coping with stress, and then social awareness. There's always, in every single one of the lessons, in all of the libraries, there's a bullying component. There's places of, culture, different places, sexual assault. Again, you wouldn't see this in 1st grade, 2nd grade, or 3rd grade, but you would have in 1st grade, 2nd grade, or 3rd grade, knowing my body's mine, understanding safe touch and that sort of thing. Then we move into empathy, compassion. Again, we've got race, religion, tolerance, and compassion. And then relationships, team and cooperation. So if you're a PE teacher and you want to do a unit on, what it means to be a team player, friendships, cyberbullying. So you can see, I don't need to read all of these, but I just wanted to show you the scope and sequence of all of these here. This is a responsible decision making. There's always things about getting ready to go off to 8th grade. So Once you decide the grade that you want and you say, okay, I want to do something on bullying here. I want to do this lesson. I wanted to show you that each one of these has a read aloud capability, and all of the lessons can be translated into nearly 100 different languages. So that's just that little drop down button. So if you have students in your school who speak a different language and you want them to be able to access this in an equitable way, then you can have them look and find, hopefully, that their language is there. Just remember that once you decide to change it, there it goes, it's going to change for you too. So that's the reason that it would be nice for the student to have their own login, so that you can you can have the student who speaks Italian or speaks some other Spanish or whatever language, they can be accessing it in an equitable way while you're looking at it from the English language. So I have to go back because I don't speak Italian, but you can change it to English, and there's a read aloud capability for every single one of these modules. I will say that it's very Surrey-like, so it's very robotic. I don't know if I pressed the sound. Let me see. I did not press the sound, but so I won't do that. But after next, there's always this little, then it will take you into these. This is an older group, 7th grade. So usually it looks like this.
Kelly, excuse me, but you stopped sharing. You stopped sharing inadvertently.
Great. All right. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. I can do it. I'm going to do the screen sound. Am I there now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Susan. All right, so I can press on
Which of the following is true about bullying situations? A. Targets of bullying usually did something wrong to provoke the bully.
So you can turn that on and off at will. You can see that it sounds a little bit robotic, but it does have a read aloud capability. So those are you have to answer the question. So it'll ask the question. So there's a lesson, you review the lesson, you ask questions. Oftentimes there are videos that go with these. I wanted to show you, sorry. Sorry about that. It's tricky to do this when you're screen sharing, sorry. Let me go back and share this lesson. I'm in a 5th grade. This is reflecting. There's a pre and post test option that you can use with your students. So if you say, you know what, I want to do this, I want to try this little lesson about reflecting about myself. This is a self-awareness sort of thing. You can have the students, you can launch the lesson, ask the students to take these little quizzes, are usually 1 or 2. It'll generate a little report for you. And they say, oh, you know what? 20% of my kids in my class really have a good idea of, self-reflection. 80% of the kids in my class really don't. So I want to spend a little bit more time on self-reflection. So that's just one of the little, I don't know why my back button is not here, Susan. Okay, there it is. All right. You want to turn that off. So toggle that off. This is your instructor, launch a lesson. You can see right here that there is a web-based version of how the lesson is laid out. So there's always going to be a brief summary about the lesson for every single one, from pre-K all the way to high school. There'll be lesson objectives, what the shared vocabulary is, key takeaways. There's continue for conversation, follow-up, and then there's resources for kids and resources for adults. There are always additional resources. There are also guides for every single one of these. So if you wanted to print these out, you wanted to have a folder or a binder and you wanted to print them out, you can. I see somebody who has their hand raised, but I can't see who.
I will get there.
Okay. So this is, if you wanted to print this out, if you say, you know what, I want to work on a standard for self-care or for nutrition or for, if you're older, for self-harm or relationships, you can look through the lesson libraries. You can see the ones that target specifically those standards for you. And then you can see that this is a really nice just printout for you.
And Karen is the one that has a question.
All right, and let me just show this one thing. This is a student, so I like this because you can print this out and have the student take it home, and they can share that with their family to say, we're learning about reflecting, or we're learning about bullying, we're learning about, so it's a handout that they can bring. So this is attached to every single one of the lesson libraries. I want to stop screen sharing just for a second so I can see what are the questions. I'll just stop for just a quick second. I'm being mindful of time. Karen? I have 12 minutes.
Thank you. I'll be quick.
No, you're fine.
If I don't want my students to all register, but I want to use the pre and post test, are those questions in a list so that I could then put them in a Google form, or are they only in the pre and post test?
They're only in the pre and post test, so they're not somewhere else on the website, but you're absolutely welcome to take them and generate your own little thing. And yes, and some people are. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did anybody else have a question or comment?
And someone had asked, Rebecca, you had wanted the link to the resources, so I did drop that in. She was having a hard time finding it. So there is a general link at the very top, and Kelly can show that when she shares her screen again, that says resources at the very top. So that's where how you access that.
Are you talking about the national resources?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
Right there. Yep.
Right here. It's on your home page. Yep. Like it's right on the toolbar for the home. Yeah. What else?
Oh, Rebecca said she was just looking for those today, so she added it for her Google Classroom.
Oh, good. And please, if you have other resources, please don't hesitate to send them to Jean or Susan, or both, and they will send them our way, and we can get those on there really easily.
I muted myself. Any other questions right now?
Yeah, Rebecca.
I
want to show. Yep, go ahead.
I think you mentioned that you were going to try to compile a main list of those resource numbers.
Yes. Okay. So if you have any you want to share with us.
Oh, I do. That was my homework tonight, is to try to compile those. So
great.
On that. We had a really in-depth conversation with 6th graders today, and they were just like, "What are those numbers? Oh my God!" So it was like, I don't know where I put them.
If you could share that with us, Rebecca, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I will. I kind of take them up all over the place, and so they're just there for anybody that needs to. I put them on so they can take the paper and just go with it. But yeah. I like the link because I can put it on the classroom now, and then they always have it. So I'll send that on as soon as I find it.
That would be great. Thank you. And if any of you are interested in being part of the work that we're going to be doing this summer, just to go through these resources and the lessons in the curriculum, we're working on customizing and building more. If you have things that you've come across and you think, you know what, this would be great to have up there in this SEL4ME, I would love for other teachers to share it. Please send it along, because we can easily, if it's vetted and appropriate and it's it's within the scope of what we're trying to do, we would be happy to share them on here for others to use as well. Susan, if I had a little video. This was a video that came out of the SEL Summit, the National Summit. It's about 3 minutes. And I just thought it was really fitting for this group of people, all of you, because of the work that you do and your dedication to health and wellness. And, because you've just been, like Susan said, quietly just in the trenches doing this. And what we're hoping to do is build a greater awareness so that it is not just on the backs of health and wellness and PE teachers to be doing SEL. We want there to be this, movement. And that's what CASEL is doing nationally. They're actually trying to help adults understand that in order for us to do this with children, not for them, not to them, this is not additional, because of how you do it, you just embed these things into your teaching. It's part of the teaching that you do. Not everybody understands that. There are a lot of educators out there that, my husband included, before he became more mindfully aware and, actually a father, that, that I teach human beings. I don't just teach science. I'm not a 7th and 8th grade science teacher, but there are an awful lot of people who really, really identify with the content and not identify with the kid, with all the kids. And I think that's what you do differently. I think that by just the nature of your job and why you went into this profession, I think that is just a real connection and you have established trust. You get to see these kids, most of them, all of them, all of the kids in the school. And maybe in high school, only some kids get to see the Algebra 2 teacher. So it's about really building relationships, and that's what social emotional learning does. And that's what CASEL is trying to do. So I'd love to just show this. It really is just emphasizing the need for adults to put the work into social emotional learning. So I could show it, and I could give you the URL or the link, and you can show it to your administrators. And would that be okay? It's about 3 minutes. Okay. Let's see. Share this
now. So you're setting that up, Kelly?
Yes.
Advisory groups are a great place to show and do a lot of these little short lessons with, just as an idea. That's where I've been doing a lot with like.
Oops.
Yes, and you know what? Other schools are they have like RTI, response to intervention. They're implementing these. School counselors are implementing these to help with pride. Like I know my husband's school, he's a principal now of a school in Belfast and middle school, and they're implementing these lessons in their they call it pride time, but it's indoor recess, but it's not. It's like, it's a structured sort of time, but they're like, oh, we love that there is, because teacher, you're all working so hard. So we're trying to get, just a pool of resources that are at your fingertips that you don't have to work so hard to find. And that was our goal. So let's see if we can play this.
That's a great idea, Doreen. That's a perfect place.
Absolutely. Right. Let me know if you can hear this, please. It's going to buffer. Well, can you hear it, Susan?
Yes.
I, Timothy Shriver.
I, Chicken.
I, Roger Weisberg.
I am making a commitment to contribute to a caring, just,
and thriving community,
nation, and world.
I commit to prioritize my own social
and emotional learning,
and to promoting the social and emotional learning of children,
young people, and adults.
I pledge to examine my emotions, my
identities, my beliefs, and my biases,
and how these impact
the way I interact with others,
the way I teach,
the way I lead.
I will help to create spaces for people
to recognize and understand their emotions,
our inner lives,
strengths, and assets,
and channel them toward productive action
and collective well-being.
I commit to listening to
young people, elders, and to those who are different from me.
귀를 기울일 것을 약속합니다.
I will work to build meaningful relationships.
Trabajaré para construir relaciones significativas,
so that I could better understand their experiences, their perspectives,
cultures, and stories. And I will contribute to creating inclusive communities
where everyone feels a sense of belonging.
使团体中的每一个人都有归属感。
I will help create learning environments
where young people find purpose and passion.
I will work alongside you
to identify and dismantle inequities
and move towards a shared vision
of how our schools and communities should look.
I promise to work together on solutions to stand up to injustice
and to use our collective voice and power
to create learning spaces, schools, workplaces, and communities where everyone can thrive.
I will use my power, my privilege,
my time,
my work, my influence, my lived experience,
my love, my passion, my energy, and my resolve.
I pledge to use all of my energy and all of my opportunities to further the cause of all kids everywhere.
Because when you commit to social and emotional learning together,
we can build stronger schools and communities today.
And a more just and caring world today and tomorrow.
So that was from the summit that I attended, the 2020 National Summit for Social Emotional Learning. And like I said, we're partnering. Would you want me to share the link to that, Susan?
Yes,
and
please.
we're gonna put that up on our, I'll just escape.
We need to create one of those for Maine.
Sorry, yes, we do. We absolutely do need to make one of those for Maine. I agree with you, 100%. That would be cool, wouldn't it?
I actually see that as a tool you could use in a classroom with kids.
Yeah. So thoughts, feedback, open to it. Don't have to put you on the spot at the moment, but that's what it is. It's going to continue to grow. It is web-based. It's pretty easy to navigate and use, and it's pretty user-friendly. I hope that some of you, all of you, will take a few minutes to just look in there, give us feedback. Let us know if you see a module or a lesson that you really don't like. Tell us, because we can go in there. If you think there's a picture in there that if you've used it with your students and they're not responding to the video, tell us, because we can change those things out. So this is not a permanent thing, although it is something that we own. It's going to, withstand hopefully the test of time. If we have a rollover and we have 12 other commissioners of education in, the next however many years, it won't go away because it's ours. We purchased it. We're working on it. We're really excited about it. We're very proud of it. It's very collaborative. And it's just the beginning. So it's
I would
great.
add, Kelly, to encourage everyone to also share this with your curriculum coordinators, with your colleagues, across all grade spans. So
yes.
Again, pushing it out there as to be used. And I see it's something that the classroom teachers, as well as school counselors, administrators using it in meetings, lots of folks.
Yeah, thank you.
And parents,
and parents. And please let people know. Thank you, Melissa. Just keep Susan, myself, or Jean. We're keeping a list of folks who want to be part of the work that we're doing. And what does it say? Thank you for the resource. We're developing a mental wellness elective for. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That is really cool.
And also make sure you put your name and district in the chat box if you haven't done that already.